Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by...
For over 30 years, Vanguard Outdoors has made the gear that turns a regular hunt into another fine day of field. We know that a good shooting stick or a nice pair of binoculars can make or break your day. Our design teams include serious hunters who work hard to bring you the best sporting optics, shooting sticks, tripods, bags, and more. We are Vanguard Outdoors.
Hi everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. We're so glad you joined us this week, and we've got a brand new show in store for you. We're going to check out what happened the first couple of days of firearm deer season in my neck of the woods. I tagged along with a good family friend as she tried to fill her very first Michigan buck tag. You won't want to miss that story. Lots of excitement out there in the woods. We'll also have a brand new recipe on this week's show and a long-awaited bragging board segment, so make sure you stay tuned. I'm Jenny Silik, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes, here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan Out of Doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by
Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's destination since 1988. Featuring varieties of homemade sausage, jerky, brats, and gourmet entrees. Holiday gift boxes can be assembled in-store or online. Details at countrysmokehouse.com.
By Showspan, producing consumer shows including the Ultimate Fishing Show Detroit at Novi Suburban Collection Showplace. The show features fishing tackle, trips, boats, and seminars from top pros. The Ultimate Fishing Show, Novi. By Green Mark Equipment. Green Mark Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. Green Mark provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com.
Happy opening day.
Happy opening day. Good morning.
Morning. How are things?
Good, good. Everything's going good.
Awesome. So tell me I'm hunting with Stephanie today.
Yep, you guys will be hunting just north of here in the woods here. You should see plenty of action. They're going to be moving fast in and out of there. I mean, we've already seen 19 bucks and they're different sizes, so whatever you guys choose to take, more than welcome.
How many different bucks?
I've seen, I think 7 different ones in there.
Nice.
There's one real nice one. So Hopefully you guys get him.
All right, and you and Brenda are going to be hunting?
Brenda will be hunting, and a couple of boys will be hunting over here. And that's about it for us. Kind of slow on a Wednesday. Come on in, Steph.
There she is.
Oh, Lord.
Morning.
Good morning.
You ready for this?
I guess.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Good deal. So you've hunted here quite a bit, but never for deer, right?
One time.
Oh, okay.
One time last year.
Last year.
Well, cool. All right, so we're...
Well, good luck to you ladies, and we'll get ready, and we'll just head on out.
All right, thanks a
Okay.
lot.
Yep.
Andy was nice enough to take on the role of deer hunting guide for us here on his pheasant hunting land. Stephanie is very familiar with the pheasant habitat and fields here and was excited for the opportunity to hunt deer on this piece of land here on November 15th.
So my husband and I hunt pheasant at Pheasant Ridge with our German short hair that we've been training to do that. So the owner, Andy, and his wife, Brenda, were really kind enough to let us have an opportunity to go shoot a buck on their property on opening day. So that was pretty cool. I've been around hunting pretty much my whole life. I started with my grandfather, who was really into the outdoors, anything hunting, fishing. So I've been around it my whole life. My best friend growing up, her family always did it, so I was always out hunting with her. But when I got married, I have been married since June of 2022. My husband kind of told me, like, you're not the observer anymore. I want you to get out there, and I want you to have a chance at shooting one. So that's kind of where it started with him. I've never shot a buck, only doe. So the first morning when we got there, we were put in a elevated box blind that was kind of in the middle of like a swampy area. And we were hoping to get like a 50-yard shot at one coming through. And Andy had told us that there's a lot more standing water than there had been in previous years. So they usually come a lot closer to that blind than what they were that morning.
We were hearing lots of gunshots in the area this morning and started seeing bucks chasing does to our north. They may have been in range for Stephanie's .350 Legend, but the view that way offered no shot opportunities.
Yeah, we're here. It's a lot of gunshots around us. We were kind of in the middle of all these fields, but in the woods, and the bucks were just chasing doe, and we never really got a good shot off or really saw one stop in a clearing. So we just saw a nice buck chasing a doe right on the other side of the standing water. We got a good glimpse of him, but it's real thick, so it's hard to get a shot off. But they're coming from every angle, so it's getting a little crazy.
The deer were coming from literally every direction and passing through the thicker part of the swamp. Stephanie just needed one of those does to lead a buck in a little closer where it was easier to find an opening for a shot. In the meantime, she kept her head on a swivel and her gun at the ready. Now you have to keep in mind Stephanie's view and the camera's view are slightly different. She was sitting to my right and didn't have a great view of this buck when he stopped.
So while we were out there, we saw quite a few doe that were being chased by what looked like a big 8-point and maybe a real tall 6. And then we actually got to see a really cool little 4-point out probably like, I don't know, 50 or 60 yards, and he fell asleep standing up and then ended up bedding down right in front of us, which was kind of cool. Well, it's about 11:30 and we're gonna wrap up our morning hunt. We did see a ton of deer all around. Nothing really came in that close for us to shoot at, but we're gonna go eat some lunch, talk to the guys, see if we're gonna stay in this spot or if we're gonna move. Hopefully we have better luck this afternoon.
Speaking of good luck, when we got back to the clubhouse, we saw that Andy's wife Brenda had an amazing opening morning and ended up with 2 beautiful bucks, both 8-points. I walked across the road to say hi to the guys where I had spent opening day back in 2014 and found Doug Schmidt with his opening day 7-point taken with buckshot. Stephanie was hoping for the same success this afternoon.
And then we decided to come back into the Pheasant Ridge clubhouse where my husband brought us some of his homemade chili. We had some lunch and we kind of made a new game plan for the afternoon. So after talking to Andy and his wife, we're gonna switch it up for the afternoon. So we're hunting this field that Brenda shot 2 bucks off of this morning. But her and her son were saying that they saw a lot of bucks on it after. So we're hoping we have better luck out here today. Brenda's elevated box blind was actually a really beautiful setup. It overlooked way more open field. We saw a lot more doe, a couple fawn come through that area, and a pretty nice 4-point that came through right as the sun was going down. The second morning was pretty cool. The field that we were set up in is where my husband and I work with our new dog on pheasant hunting. So it was cool to hunt in that field for deer instead of pheasant. But Andy set us up in what he calls the lifeguard stand. And to Jenny and I, you know, every stand has a different name. We didn't know if it was named after something, but we found out that it's actually a legitimate lifeguard stand that you'd see on a beach. So that was pretty interesting to get there. And normally, from what we were told, it's usually one person will hunt out of it. But, you know, it was, once we got up in it, it was kind of interesting to see how we both had to fit with the camera and the gun and the shooting stick And we kind of felt like if I was gonna get a shot, it would have to be directly in front of us. When the sun started coming up, we started hearing things, and 2 doe came out right behind us, a couple fawns to my left, a couple smaller bucks were almost like sparring in front of us, which was really cool to see. And then off to the distance to our left through the trees, we could see a real big body in the open field. And it was just a waiting game until he was in a clearing where we could actually see if he was a doe or a buck. So we ended up seeing a nice buck through the clearing. We saw past him that there was actually a doe there. So it was kind of clear to see that he was tending to a doe out in the field. So we were kind of at the mercy of wherever she chose to walk. It was pretty tough to get a range on how far he was because of all the branches in the way. So we were guessing that he was at about 150 yards. So she would kind of go to the left a little bit and then to the right, and then eventually she started walking away from us. He was not going to be getting any closer to us because that doe was leaving. So we were just hopeful that there was a ton of branches in the way, but I had a few holes that I could shoot through. So it was just a matter of hoping he would walk into one of those lanes. So he ended up walking into one of the shooting lanes, and right as I was getting dialed in, he kind of did a 180 and thankfully stayed in the exact same shooting lane.
You hit him.
Did I hit him?
You hit him. Oh my goodness, Stephanie!
That was sweet.
That was crazy.
My heart's going really fast.
You pulled off a crazy shot. That was amazing.
Hopefully he goes down.
Oh, tell me a little bit about what was going on out there, what we were watching.
Oh my God. So this buck was...
Can you talk a little louder?
Oh, he was on a doe out there. And we were waiting and waiting. Hopefully they were going to come into the clearing over here. But the doe started to go away. And he just came into a little clearing between these 2 trees. And I felt like it was the only time we were going to get a shot.
Yeah. Oh. He kicked and he went down, so we'll have to go see.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Awesome. Oh, that's crazy.
So we decided to regroup, and we went back to the clubhouse where my husband met us and Andy met us. So we reviewed the footage on a bigger screen TV in slow motion, and it was impossible to see where I ended up hitting this deer. We do know that he was hit, but we really could not tell based on the location of where I hit him. I can say where I aimed, but we do not know for sure where he got hit. So we ended up going back to find initial blood, and we found a considerable amount of blood where we believed the shooting site to be. And it was like a paintbrush of blood through the field all the way to the last location that we saw him go down. And unfortunately, he was still in that location and stood up and walked down through what is a ditch with water and up into a cornfield. So we did not want to spook him past that because it's a very large cornfield. So we decided that we would come back and regroup and kind of go back out at night. The cornfield is Andy's neighbor's property, so we had to get permission from them, which they were very kind to give us permission to go onto their property at dark. So we had to wait till dark to go back to look for him. We also decided that we didn't want to mess around, so we called Jordan's deer tracking hounds, and we had a dog come out to help us. It was my first buck, so my husband was very adamant that we find him. So we had the help of a dog. The dog service was phenomenal. The dog was really cool. He came out. Once he was on the trail, it took him maybe 30 seconds. He ran into the corn. He went in about 20 yards and he found him dead. Had we known in the morning what we knew at night, we would have probably found him dead very quickly that morning. Where we found him, he was sprawled out and not bedded down again. So they believe that he probably died very shortly after getting into the corn. It was really cool. I don't even know how to describe it. I've been trying now for a few years outside of just watching other people do it, and I guess it's a completely different rush when you get to be the one to pull the trigger. It was really, really cool. It was really cool to share it with Jenny, and it was really cool to share it with my husband because I know how hard he's been working to try to give me this opportunity. So I was really happy for both him and I. The range that we got for him when we took the shot, I think that we may have been a little too close with our range based on all the branches in front of us. He was out further than what I anticipated. So it was a far shot for my .350 Legend. I think that bullet went a little low and it went through his brisket and blew out that opposite lead shoulder. And that's what ended up taking him down.
It's an indescribable feeling to walk up on your very first buck. Congratulations to Stephanie Peters on her first one. Special thanks to Andy Galante and Steph's husband Anthony for making her dream a reality here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Next up on the show is our ever popular bragging board segment. We kind of wanted to explain how that segment works. Now, we do receive photos from all of you great viewers on your successes in Michigan's Out of Doors. We've got hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures to get to, which is a rather impossible task. So we've randomly picked our selection for this week's show, and we sure hope you enjoy it, and hopefully your picture made it on this week's bragging board.
Well, we're here once again in Mount Pleasant at the Wood Shop Social with Jim Wood, and we're going to do some venison again today. I see some venison tenderloins that are already kind of cooked. I don't know how you're going to improve on perfection right there, but what are we going to make here today,
So
Jim?
we're making venison crostini.
Okay.
It's like a mini open-faced sandwich.
And what are we going to do?
So we're going to make a roasted garlic cream cheese to go on the bottom, and then we're going to put the sliced venison, and then it's going to be topped with some horseradish sauce, some balsamic onions, and some, it's called apple cider gastrique. What it is literally just apple cider, like a gallon reduced down to 2 cups.
Okay.
Tastes like apple pie.
So it's not
almost.
too fancy?
I don't think it's too fancy. Some people might.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be good. Let's kind of get started here. What are we going to do
So we're
to
just going
kick this thing off?
The balsamic onions take the longest time.
Okay.
And you're just going to take about a pound of thinly sliced onions. And you're not looking for color here. Right now, you're just trying to sweat them, just to get as much of that water out of the onions at the beginning.
All right.
And then you're literally just going to add just a little bit of balsamic vinegar, some brown sugar.
Okay.
And stir it up.
So this is just something to do with your tenderloins if you're just looking for something new to try.
Yeah, you can put this on burgers. It's balsamic onions are very similar to caramelized onions.
Okay.
Only the process doesn't take as long, and it's not nearly as difficult.
Okay.
So you're just going to turn the heat to low, and you're just going to let it go until they'll look very brown. They'll look caramelized. And if you do it on low, you don't have to worry about burning it, and you just kind of let it go.
Okay. And these tenderloins, you just, little salt and pepper, you just put them on a hot grill, just kind of sear them off a
Yeah,
little
and you
bit.
don't have to grill them. You can sear them, roast them, however you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got the onions kind of doing their thing, and now what's the next step?
Now we're going to make the horseradish sauce. So we have Worcestershire sauce, some sour cream, some mayo, and our horseradish.
Okay.
Just going to give that a good mix.
Now, is this something that you do typically at the restaurant here, or?
Yeah, we'll do this a lot for catering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So you've done this a few times?
Yes, I have. Not this exact lineup, but I've done variations of it.
Okay.
All right, so that's done. Now we've got a half pound of cream cheese and 10 cloves of garlic that have been roasted in the oven with oil. And then we've got a little bit of salt. And we're just gonna incorporate that. So this is something you can make all of this ahead of time.
Okay.
So when you have friends over or tailgating, whatever you're doing, deer camp, you can just kind of put it all together.
Okay, Jim, we got this kind of toasted off. Kind of walk me through how we're going to assemble this and what we did to kind of prepare this.
So we're going to take our piece of bread, our crostini, and we're going to add our cream cheese.
Okay.
Then we're going to put our venison, and then our horseradish sauce, our balsamic onions, and our apple gastrique.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Thank you so much for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you stay tuned on next week's show. We've got some great things to share with you. We'll be checking in at how Gabe Van Warmer did for his opening day of firearm deer season. Gabe never disappoints, so you won't want to miss that story. And Jimmy's going to sit down with one of our viewers who submitted a viewer video from the early elk season here in Michigan. He was able to harvest a massive elk with archery equipment. You won't want to miss that story. If you'd like to see where we are, where we're headed next, and a little bit more about the show, you can always check us out online. Our website is MichiganOutofDoorsTV.com, and we're on the social media platforms at Michigan Out of Doors TV. If we don't see you in the woods or on the water, we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
By Alta Equipment Company, providing sales, rentals, service, and parts because uptime matters. From earth moving to landscaping and light construction, Alta offers over 50 brands across 7 Michigan locations to serve you. More information online or 844-GO-2-ALTA. By SCI. SCI helps protect, promote, and preserve wildlife through conservation practices, which include hunting. SCI supports and funds conservation programs in the state of Michigan. Learn more how you can get involved at a chapter near you.
By Jay's Sporting Goods, with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's has been serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971, with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's. On the web at jaysportinggoods.com.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man.